We are about halfway there. It's quite slow. Here we go.
50p in the meter.
Oh God, it's done it to me again. Why does it keep doing that?
What's it doing?
It's gone. I've lost the actual Zoom meeting screen.
Linda says she's trying to get in.
Yeah, I can't let her in until I can get the screen back. One moment. Okay, thank you. I've done it. Linda hasn't come up. Councillor Waters hasn't come up currently. So I'm hoping she'll join. Right, so apologies for that. Good evening and welcome to Wincanton Town Council extraordinary meeting on the 17th of August at 7 p.m. Colleagues, I'm just going to do a roll call to help Councillor Vag, who's kindly agreed to take notes tonight of key actions, and then we can move into the agenda. So in attendance tonight is, let me just move this screen, starting at the bottom. I have Councillor Power, Councillor Old, Councillor Hinks, Councillor Rogers, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Gazine, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow and Councillor Vag. And as of yet, I cannot see anyone else looking to join, as in Councillor Waters. So hopefully that will happen in a minute. And if she does come on board, I'll let her in at that point. So colleagues, thank you for tonight. Thank you for coming together on this Zoom meeting that's being live streamed onto YouTube. Firstly, I would like to check that councillors have had access to the agenda today for the meeting. Can you put your hands up in acknowledgement, please? Thank you. I'm getting a full set. Thank you very much. And also that councillors have access to the standing orders and financial regulations for Wincanton Town Council, because that will aid our conversation. And in addition, you may find it helpful to have the compliments, complaints and comments policy to hand, because I will be referring to that during the meeting. So in terms of tonight's focus, we have tonight to move into the formal agenda. As normal, colleagues, I would ask that you work within our code of conduct. One moment, Councillor Waters is now joining at 19:03. Okay, so she's just coming online. So we'll just wait a second for Councillor Waters to come in. Can you hear us, Councillor Waters? No. Councillor Waters, can you hear us? There seems to be some connectivity issues with Councillor Waters. Can you hear us now?
I'm here. Yes,
Oh,
got it.
excellent, excellent. Do you have the papers for today, Councillor Waters?
As in personnel committee?
As in the agenda for today, the standing orders, financial regulations, and also if you have to hand the policy on complaints, compliments and comments. So moving into the agenda. So we've noted attendees in the meeting. Can I now note apologies? So I'm aware Councillor Thomas has submitted apologies. Are we aware of any other councillors? Oh, Councillor Hearn has submitted apologies tonight as well. My apologies. Are there any other councillors who have submitted apologies that you're aware of that I'm not? Councillor Hinks?
Yeah, John Addington. Or
Jan, thank you. Thank you very much. Are you okay with that, Councillor Vagg? Noting, thank you very much. If we then move on, please, I'd like to move into point 2 on the agenda, which is declaration of interest, which is members to declare any interest they may have in an agenda item that accord with the requirements of the Council Code of Conduct. So in terms of point 2, do any councillors need to declare an interest in the agenda tonight? I'm getting lots of no's. So no one has actually put their hand up to say they wish to declare an interest. So thank you. Now we're moving into point 3 on the agenda, which is delegated responsibility to the Personnel Committee. And this agenda item, if I might introduce it, and then we can open it up for discussion, is to appoint locums equivalent to 2 members of staff as soon as practically possible to provide cover in the absence of the clerk or deputy clerk. So this isn't other members of staff that work within the council. This is purely the staff that support our statutory responsibility around our standing orders and provide line management to staff as well, amongst other things. So in terms of this agenda item, I'd just like to draw council's attention to page 5 on the Financial Regulations 4.1, and also to draw colleagues' attention to the ability for council to decide budget for particular tasks, which at this time of year would come out of our reserves. So that's setting the scene for this conversation to take place and for the motion to be discussed further. I'm now going to open it up to council to pose any questions, any comments, or any feeling or any comments they wish to make at this time. No one's posing any questions. Oh, sorry, Councillor Greening, I apologise. Your hand blurred into the background with your...
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify this point with current circumstances with Sam coming back to the office this week, which I'm hoping is that transition is going well, and obviously wish her my best. But does this point that we're talking about tonight have a bearing on Sam and where she's likely to be? Is the grievance...
Right, can I just stop you there for a moment, Councillor Greening? Can we not name staff, please, because of their confidentiality? Sure. I know we're talking about 2 posts and we're a small team, but I'd rather not name staff. So please, can I ask you to recommence with that noting, please, councillors, not to name staff?
Yeah, I sort of come to the end of my point, really. Just this point of debate, does that have, now that circumstances have changed this week, does that affect this point in any way? Or are we kind of debating about the contingency plans?
Okay, thank you. I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's now move to Councillor Hinks. You put your hand up. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, I do. Is this anything to do with how we have the advert for employing somebody, and also who is this Simon Pritchard who done the advert? Please.
Okay, I believe you spoke about that last time.
Yes, I did.
This, and we actually decided to included it in the response last time. So in terms of other comments, please, can I have a response? Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Ralph, can I invite you to speak?
I'd just like to say that as a member of the Personnel Committee, I feel strongly that we need measures in place so we can support staff when they need it. And that's what I see these delegated powers doing. They give the Personnel Committee the opportunity to react as quickly as possible within, our own terms of reference and standing orders to support staff when they require it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Because you've already spoken once, Councillor Hinks. I'd like to open the floor to other people. Councillor Auld?
Yeah, firstly, I'm going to say, do you really think that I can take any suggestions that are coming out of any of you seriously after what you've done over the last few days? Secondly, I'd like to say that both clerks have been off sick due with stress-related issues. Delegated powers should therefore stay with the main full council, and that should be, and any other personnel issues discussed by the committee should also be brought back to full council and not the personnel committee. And this will ensure that our clerks are going to be protected during their return to work and to make sure that they can get up and running again, and that they're not going to be governed by a select few councillors who may or may not have been the cause of all of these issues. As a council, we really, really, really should be making sure that we are safeguarding them and not allowing them to be bullied by one or two individuals within this council. So therefore, I suggest that we really leave this delegation of powers until much later.
Thank you, Councillor Old. I would like to just say that Code of Conduct requires us to be respectful to other councillors. Can I ask anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, Councillor Tudgay.
I think we should put in place some contingency plans for the future. Through nobody's fault in particular, we've been left in an unbearable situation over the last few weeks when we've had no responsible financial officer, no proper officer, no clerk of any sort or shape in the office. And had we had this delegation of power in place, we would have been able to bring someone in to conduct the business and continue the business. And this item we're discussing tonight should be seen as part of a future business continuity plan, which is something else we will have to look at in the future, because we've been absolutely stymied these past 2 weeks.
And whose fault is that, Ray? Whose fault?
Excuse me, Councillor Old. I again come back to Code of Conduct. If you continue to interrupt another councillor, I will start to instruct the ability to actually remove you from the meeting if you continue in that way.
Just to clarify that, see, please, just to clarify, so you're now saying that you're going to go back to muting me again, are you? Or to even switching off my screen? Can you just clarify that, please, for all that are watching right now? Clarify
Yes,
exactly what you mean.
Yes, Councillor Tudgay, would you like to speak?
Well, I would like to continue on from where I was, but I would also like to say to Councillor Ode that this behaviour is unnecessary, Councillor Ode.
Sorry, is that the behaviour of all of you councillors that have caused Sam to go off sick and to cause other clerks to go off sick, is it?
First warning, Councillor Old, first warning. Second warning, we will vote. Third, you will be excluded from this meeting.
That's fine. I'm sure the monitoring officer can't wait to watch this one.
Councillor Tudgay, would you please resume?
No, I've said all I think people have got the gist of where I am. We really do need a contingency plan to cover staff illnesses, sickness, holidays, whatever. We need to be able to have a competent person in the office to help us run this council in a fit and proper manner. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So what I'm now going to do is draw.
Can I just ask one more question, please?
You've asked one. Is it in relation?
Yes, answer twice.
Go on then.
Good for the goose is good for the gander.
Okay, I'd also like to note there's additional people in the room with you, Councillor Hinks. So please can you now speak and then concisely put your point across?
Yes, I would still like to know who this Simon Pritchard is. And it seems to me you advertised the job before it went to full council. And it seems to me as if you're closing the stable door after the horse is already bolted.
Thank you for that analogy, Councillor Hinks. Councillor Tudgay, you've spoken previously. Would you like to respond to Councillor Hinks, or is it another point? I invite you to speak.
In response to Councillor Hinks' question about who Mr. Simon Pritchard is, we've all received an email today from Mr. Pritchard. So if we'd all read our emails, we would know exactly who he is. Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid I haven't received that email.
Neither have I. There's a surprise.
Right. I'm going to now draw this, unless other councillors who've not yet spoken wish to speak, I'm going to draw this to a proposal and move this motion to a proposal. Yes, Councillor Smith.
I also haven't received an email from Mr. Pritchard.
Yeah, right. Councillor Power, and then Councillor Tudgay, if you wish to respond.
I haven't either. I haven't had an email from Mr. Pritchard.
Okay.
We haven't.
We will check that because you should have been. Yes, Councillor Vag.
Yeah.
I haven't had an email from Simon Pritchard either.
Okay, so there was obviously a comms issue on the sharing of. Yes, Councillor Tudgay.
I will apologise, Chair, to the people. I felt sure that we were all copied in to the information that was sent out from the Somerset Association of Local Councils today. And I do apologise to fellow councillors if I have falsely accused you of not reading an email that I thought you had received. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tudgay. We will look to see what that email pertained to, but I think it was to do with meeting environments, but we will look to see that and share that accordingly. So in terms of this motion, I know that there's been a number of questions. Councillor Rold, you've spoken more than once. Are you going to speak within code of conduct?
Yes, before you table a motion, Sue Hinks has asked you for 2 meetings now on more than one occasion to explain who Simon Pritchard is. You have not answered her question and you have skated around the issue. What is the problem with giving a straight answer? Reply who Simon Pritchard is and what his involvement is and who instructed him and on behalf of who, because it wasn't a motion that was tabled at full council. Am I right, Sue?
Yes, you are, Dawn.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rold. Councillor Vag, what is it you'd like to respond to?
I'd just like to ask you, Chair, if you could ask Dawn, Councillor Rold again to modify her tone. We don't like sitting here being shouted at, and if she doesn't want to modify her tone, then she should be asked to leave.
Thank you, Councillor Vag. That's your second. That's the second comment, Councillor Rold. The third one will vote to remove. Councillor Tudgay.
Chair, I've just found the email, and it was an email that was forwarded by the clerk today to yourself and me. I genuinely thought the clerk had forwarded it to all councillors, and I really don't know why it was just forwarded to you and me. So that clears up that matter, and I will once again apologise to my fellow councillors for suggesting that they had received an email which they very obviously had not. Thank you.
Thank you. So in terms of this motion, and I will respond to your comment, Councillor Hinks. You've just heard from Councillor Tug. Councillor Roll, do you wish to speak, or are you just going to do what you're continuing to do?
Sue, I just said you still haven't replied to Councillor Hinks. She's asked you more than once.
Stop, please. Can I ask you to stop? Because actually I'm trying not to remove you from this meeting. So in terms of the Simon.
Can you tell me who this Simon Pritchard is? I'm only asking a simple question.
Yes, you are. And actually we've received numerous emails from Simon Pritchard. He works.
No, I haven't.
Well, we have as a council, and today is demonstrated we've received one. It's just unfortunate it wasn't shared with the whole council. He works for SELP. In terms of instruction, no one has been instructed to advertise a post at all. What I asked in consultation with a number of councillors for us to do is test to see if there's anyone interested in providing any cover for our staff, in particular on the request of one of our members of staff who said that she needed support to help her in the role. So the response was, I don't wish to go further in this because I'm not wishing to talk about the member of staff, but it was in response to a member of staff who asked for support. And that is our role in our employment, with our employment responsibility and our duty of care for staff, to listen and respond. And that's exactly what I did in that role.
It should have been to all the councillors and not the chosen few to have the vote. We're all elected to be councillors, so how come that some can give their say to who's going to? And I suppose the invisible man must have put the advert on.
I didn't say that, Councillor Ralph.
I just want to say that I think we've discussed this particular matter enough now, and we haven't employed anyone, nor will we employ anyone if we don't go on to vote accordingly now. I think I've made my views clear that I think it's an important contingency plan to support staff going forward if required, if and when required. But I think we just need to move to a vote now.
I agree. So the proposal is that we allocate a sum of money. Now, as a council, we can allocate up to 5k, and that's it in our financial regulations. And the purpose of that delegation is for personnel in response to meeting the needs of our duty of care for staff can respond quickly to meet that need with having this delegated responsibility within their remit. And this sits with our current policies. So can I have a proposer? Are you proposing?
Sorry, excuse me. Before there's a vote, there needs to be a second proposal on the table. And I propose that the powers stay with the full council, please, in the best interests of the people that we already have employed. And that is for safeguarding issues. And that is with their best interests at heart. And I'd like a seconder for that as well.
Right, firstly, can I invite, one moment, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Power, do you wish to speak? Because I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I wasn't vote seconding or anything. I just want to know, would the money come out of the reserves?
Yes, the money would come from the reserves on this moment in time. For the future, we would look to see how that money could be incorporated within our full budget. But this is responding to changes in policy in alignment with requirements around employment law, and also the fact that we need to do our duty of care for staff. So we have two proposals on the table. Proposal one, which is put forward by Councillor Old, that nothing changes and it remains full council to make these decisions. And it has been proposed by Councillor Old and seconded by Councillor Rogers. Is that correct, Councillor Rogers? Correct. Thank you. So let's go with that one first, and then we'll go with the proposal that I had put forward second. So in terms of a vote, yes, Councillor Tudgay.
I think before you move to the vote, Chair, you should formally propose and second the original motion.
I beg your pardon, sorry. Thank you for that.
And I'm quite prepared to propose the motion.
Right, so Councillor Tudgay has proposed that we move to a delegated responsibility to the Personnel Committee for 5,000 to appoint where required in the absence of our clerk or deputy clerk. Is that seconded by you, Councillor Ralph?
I second that proposal.
Thank you. So both proposals are supported. So now can I, with agreement of council, we'll move to a vote with those proposals. So we'll go for and against. We'll do Councillor Old's proposal first. So those in support of Councillor Old's proposal to keep it as it is, with any decision related to personnel around additional staff to support our duty of care coming to full council. So Councillor Old, Councillor Hinks and Councillor Rogers. And no, and against that proposal. So I have Councillor Power, Councillor Waters, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Gazine, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph,
You might as well resign.
Can I, excuse me, can I ask that Councillor Rogers, Councillor Hinks and whoever's in the room to actually not interrupt the vote, please? And Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow and Councillor Vagg are voting against that motion. So now, put on the second proposal on the agenda, on the second proposal, proposed by Councillor Tudgay, seconded by Councillor Ralph, which is to delegate responsible to the Personnel Committee. Can I have a vote for, please? So those councillors who are voting to support. So I'm going to start with Councillor Power, Councillor Waters, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Gazine, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Vagg. Those against? I have Councillor Hinks, Councillor Rogers, and Councillor Old. So can I have, when you're ready, Councillor Vagg, the numbers, please?
Same shoe every time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry. Councillor Old's proposal has been defeated, 349 against. Councillor Tudgay's motion for delegation has been resolved at 943 against.
Ain't can be 9, there's only 8. That's them almost all together.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I beg
8.
your pardon.
There's 12.
No,
There's 2 of you in there.
sorry about that.
There's 11 screens and two
Yeah, I do
councillors on one
apologise.
screen.
Just
Thank
keep
you.
on your toes.
So the motion to delegate responsibility to the Personnel Committee has been carried. We will authorise the correct paperwork to ensure that the Personnel Committee has access to those funds. If we now move on, unless there's any further questions in relation to that outcome, to legal advice for Wincanton Town Council. So this motion, is to identify legal advice for the Personnel Committee within the delegated powers and also for the Town Council in response to members of public when required. So this particular motion, I'd like to draw your attention to in the complaints and compliments policy 52G. In the event of a serial vexatious or malicious complaint from a member of the public, the council would consider taking legal action before writing any letter to the complainant. And point 7, which is unreasonable and vexatious complaints. And this is where there are circumstances when a complainant persists in wishing to pursue a complaint which clearly has no reasonable bias, or where the council has already taken reasonable action in response, or where there's other processes, or whether through the courts or other recognised procedures should or has been taken. So this is the evidence in support of this proposal, and I'm going to open it to the floor for councillors to respond, please. No one wishes to respond? Does anyone?
Sorry, what is the proposal? What are you saying, that you want to seek legal advice?
No, what I'm actually reading to you is 2 policy statements within our policies that we need to, as a council, have the ability to take legal advice at the request of the clerk and or personnel, which is the two.
Yes, you do need to take legal advice, because this is the most corrupt council I have ever seen in Wincanton in the last 40 years. And it is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And I'll remove myself from the meeting because I don't want to be a part of it. It's disgraceful.
So Councillor Old has left the meeting in 1929. So we're now in a position where we now have 11 members of council, and now 2 further councillors wish to speak. Are you?
Well, I've been on this council now for 40 years, and I have never known it in the state that it's in. It's not. People in the town are all talking about us, and I don't like being talked about.
No, I can appreciate that, but this is not in connection with the item we're discussing, Councillor Rogers.
But it is.
So, no, it's not.
It isn't. It is, because you're saying about legal things, but this council's got in a mess. This council's got in a mess, and it's got to be sorted out, and not
Yes.
take all these legal actions. It's never gone through all this before in my 40 years.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Rogers. So, point 4, legal advice.
Hang on.
Yes, Councillor Hink.
No, I've been on the council for 15 years. I think it's
Uh-huh.
about 15. And well, it's an absolutely utter disgrace. I think the monkeys in the zoo could do a better job than what we're doing at the moment.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hinks, for that comment. So now we're moving back to the point on the agenda, which is legal advice for Wincanton Town Council. What I'm suggesting is, and I've read the points within our policy documents that apply to this, that we, in addition to any insurance we have around access to legal advice, in the case that we actually go forward to any formal proceeding, this is an additional pot that in the event the Personnel Committee and our council can access legal advice. So can I have a proposal? I'm sorry, I'll finish before I move. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I'm looking to identify £1,000 out of the reserve pot in this instance to support this piece of work. So if there's no further questions or comments in relation.
I'd just like to ask a word. Well, with how we're carrying on, we still ain't going to have no money in reserves, so that the council's going to be bankrupt.
I'm not clear that is the case, but if you have
Well,
some
if we have
financial
this big-
information, Councillor
If you
Hicks,
have this big legal action, what
yes.
good? We're all going to be in the Kaiwa, up to our neck in it, and I don't see why I should have to lose my house for the sake of a few chosen few people.
I don't wish to go back over this, but I will do if necessary. Councillor Vagg, would you like to speak?
Yes, if we do have to take legal action, it is no fault of anybody on this council. It is the fault of vexatious, frivolous and malicious stuff that's going on outside this council and directed at this council. I'm pretty fed up with it, and we are, as volunteers, entitled to protect ourselves from this.
Thank you, Councillor Vagg. So, yes, Councillor Greening, and then Councillor Tudgay.
Am I right in thinking that this meeting is closed to the council members only? I keep hearing these voices in the background, and I'm just wondering where they're coming from.
I believe there is someone in the room with Councillor Hinks and Rogers. Although this meeting is being screened on YouTube, there are people advising council, which is actually I would question at this time. Hello, please can I ask that you actually do not comment in our meeting? We do not have public participation tonight. Can I now talk to council about the legal advice for Wincanton Town Council? In terms of the £1,000 from the reserves, please can I ask for a proposer around this and a seconder so we can move to a vote? Yes, Councillor Tudgay. Oh, did I miss you? I apologise, Councillor Tudgay. You've put yourself back on mute, I'm sorry to say.
How long do you see this? Where do you see this £1,000 going, Chair? It doesn't seem to me to be a very large sum of money when it comes to instructing solicitors or lawyers. So I'm just a little bit unclear as to how far you think we're going to go with this first £1,000.
Well, as a council, I'll respond to that in a moment because no other councillors have put their hands up, unless I've missed you, in which case, please just make me aware. We as a council can actually identify up to £5,000 within our financial regulations for this, which we can do if that's what council wish to do, move it from 1,000 up to 5,000 in this financial year, and then at the end of this financial year we can consider the options available to us as part of our ongoing budget management.
Thank you. That clears that for me. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers, may I ask what your request to speak pertains to?
Well, all this money you're paying out now, at the end of the day, the council tax is going to have to go up. And there's a lot of people that can't afford these high council tax. You're spending all this money on this, that, and all the rest of it. But you can't keep asking people in the town to keep paying higher council tax to the money that we're wasting.
Right, thank you for that comment. I'd just like to clarify, we haven't spent any of this money yet.
You're going to.
Well, that may be the case, but it's not down to us as council to decide where money is spent if we are actually required to respond in terms of our policies around the complaints procedures if we need to. That's what we should be doing as a professional body, acting in that way. So in terms of moving this forward,
this needn't have got like that, need it?
No.
It needn't have got like it.
If it ain't going to be us, who's going to be the ones who's going to afford the money out anyway? Because it's all got to go through full council to say yay or nay. So I don't know. It's just
the same few vote to say yes.
Yeah, that's it. Follow like sheep.
thank you very much, Councillor Rogers and Councillor Hinks, where you've now completed your ability to talk to this motion because you've spoken numerous times. Can I ask that
This is a council meeting and we're allowed to speak how many times we like, not governed to what you say, because you say that we're not allowed to speak. We're here to represent the people of the town. Not to be told you can only speak twice, only speak once.
What are we back?
It's incorrect. I've never had that said to me in a council meeting before.
No, neither have I. It seems as if we're back to school.
Absolutely right.
And thank you again, Councillor Hinks and Councillor Rogers. It's actually within our standing orders. It's up to the chair to decide if you speak more than once to a motion.
I disagree.
Yes, so do I.
So moving forward in terms of this motion 4, can I have a proposer for this motion, please? Councillor, do you wish to speak, Councillor Vagg, or is that a proposal? You're proposing. Councillor Vagg has proposed to support this motion. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Gazine. And can I have a vote from the floor for this motion in terms of 5,000 to be allocated to the Personnel Committee within delegated powers and in respect of the Town Council to respond to members of the public if within our policies they breach and we need to take legal advice. So in terms of a vote, I'm going to start. Councillor Power? No. Councillor Tugger, you're going to have to do a different type of waving about for me to know what's different, to be fair. Yes, Councillor Tugger, I apologise for missing you.
Sorry, have you said 1,000 or 5,000?
5. I thought I said 5. Didn't I say 5? I thought I said 5.
We were talking about spending 1,000 to the end of the year.
I thought you said it was 1,000 sufficient? If not, we could go to 5. And I said we have the ability to go to 5.
Well, I would be happier if we left it at 1,000 for now.
Okay.
That would be my view. I mean,
So,
what the rest of the councillors feel is up to them.
So,
but,
okay, so that's because we've put the proposal forward. There is a formal process we need to do in terms of managing the motion. So, in terms of the person who proposed that motion, do you wish to remove that motion now? So we can restart the discussion. Yes, Councillor Vagg, you wish to remove it. So we're removing that motion. So let's go back to the open discussion again for clarity purposes. What we're saying is we're talking for legal advice for the Town Council, delegated to the Personnel Committee, and also to the Council as a whole for in the event of public responses in terms of our policy. Councillor Tudgate says he'd like to keep it at 1,000. Do we have a proposer for that? Or before we move to proposer, is there anyone who wishes to place another number against that? Between 1 and 5 is the maximum we can go to. Councillor Greening, do you wish to speak? And Councillor Power?
I would personally think £1,000 won't go very far in a legal sense. So I would say that we go up to our limit, 5,000. Should, in the unlikely event that it happens, we have to draw upon that amount of money. But I would say otherwise we're just going to keep coming back, nickeling and diming installments thereafter. So I would suggest we vote up to 5,000.
Okay, so do we want to put two motions forward for this? One that's
Shouldn't this go through the Finance Committee first?
No, not at this moment. Thank you, Councillor Hinks. Can I ask Councillor Power, do you wish to speak?
Yeah. So the max is 5. We can't really get a quote from any solicitors and lawyers, I suppose, but maybe go midway, 2,500 to start with, halfway. Does anyone else agree with that, or I don't know?
Councillor Vagg?
I would suggest that the £5,000 is devoutly not to be wished that we have to spend any of it, but if we do need to, it saves keep on coming back and having to have this same argument again there and again. It's there just in case.
Thank you.
So I'm hoping we don't have to spend it, but it makes it easier.
Yeah, so what this is doing is by going up to our 5,000, which is within financial regulations 4.1, it does mean that if we don't spend this money, and I recognise it's coming out of reserves, but if we don't spend this money, then we're not, it's, you know, it's I can see, sorry, my brain is not functioning quite right tonight, I don't think. What we're saying is that 1,000 isn't enough if we're required to take any legal action. And even a first conversation with a solicitor or a lawyer of any description, you can quickly come up to £1,000 without blinking an eyelid. I think actually, if we do need to take it, and this is only if we do, that we have the ability to go up to 5,000 just to enable us to respond and not have to come back either for an extraordinary meeting, which is the reason why we're here tonight, or bring it back to full council. So to me, logically, I would say we look to identify 5k to the maximum that we can go to, and then we should, if it goes any further, then it will probably breach our insurance anyway. So this is just in the event that we might need to take advice to protect our council and protect our staff. So are we saying now our proposal 5,000 for this motion? So unless anyone has any further comments about 5,000, the proposal is that we allocate 5,000 from the reserves for legal advice for personnel and for council. Can I have a proposer, please? Is that you, Councillor Power? You're proposing? Excellent. A seconder is Councillor Greening. And can I have a vote, please, for the proposal? So I'm going to start with Councillor Power, Councillor Waters, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgate, Councillor Gzine, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Vagg. Those against, please. I have Councillor Hinks and Councillor Rogers against.
What do you mean
So,
against? That's not very nice. Again?
Yeah, that's not nice. Please explain yourself.
against is actually the term. You voted against.
You didn't say that, you said again.
Or
No,
I guess.
Yes, she did say again.
Again, yeah.
So he's not deaf.
No, not as.
Well, I apologise if you think I said again, but actually I said against. So my apologies. Councillor Vagg, can you confirm the outcome of that motion, please?
The motion is carried 9-4, 2 against.
Thank you. So the motion is carried. So in terms of this meeting tonight, it is now completed and therefore we're going to close. I'd like to thank you for your time tonight, and the minutes will be written up following this meeting, and we will share those with you in due course following our normal process, and they will go to the next available meeting for review, as we normally would do around ratifying minutes. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to end the call now, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.